bless football, Mike Golic.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Stugotz. How are you?
I'm doing well, Billy. How are you with the Marlins losing in 2 games to the Phillies?
I'm good. I mean, it was not a season that we expected to, or that I expected them to make the postseason. So I'm happy that it went as far as it did, even though it went 2 games, they got swept, but not a bad season for the Marlins.
Everybody got swept. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I love the Marlins uniforms and the black hatted batting helmets. And you got a lot of physically good looking dudes on that team. You guys win that part of it. You didn't win the baseball part of it, but I did like the uniform and the physique of the athletes. So
really, you measured up the rest of the baseball team and compared them to the Marlins?
I did. The first thing I noticed was I loved the uniforms. And then batter after batter, I'm like, dude, man, these guys are stoked.
Is he talking about the Marlins or this Zoom?
No,
the physique, all the good stuff.
I guarantee it. Most of the players on the Marlins could take their shirts off. We'd be like, wow. Anybody took their shirt off on this one, people would be like, damn.
Yeah, trust me, you'd say wow if I took my shirt off. You'd say wow.
Yeah. Different kind of
Take
wow.
Take it off. Go ahead. Let's see if he says wow.
Oh, my God. Or throw up.
But, Mike, I feel like if the Reds took their jerseys off, you would also be impressed with that, you know?
I would.
I mean, you're the one who did all the evaluations. I have no idea.
I just in the games I saw. I mean, these are the games I watched. As I was watching that game, I saw batter after batter come up and went, "Wow,
take your shirt off."
You guys are stoked pretty well." And unfortunately, that doesn't move to the actual play side of it as they got dumped 7-1 by Philly. Listen, that place was rocking. They were ready to go. Now they take on Atlanta, this is one of those years where if Atlanta wins it, the first reaction I think is going to be relief because they're so favored, right? To win this thing and we've seen this before out of them where, they're out and you're like, oh my God, a team with this much talent, has to be the World Series champs or at least get there. So, if they were to get dumped by Philadelphia or not win the World Series or at least make it there, man, that would be a huge, huge disappointment.
Billy, Golic seems like he'd be a good cleanup hitter for a baseball team. Like at some point, Golic, did you play baseball growing up?
So, I certainly played as a kid. Yeah. But then in high school, like I did wrestling and football in high school. So I never once had to take the bus home after school in high school because I was always doing a sport. So my senior year, wrestling ended in March after the state wrestling tournament. And I remember going to school that next week when we got home and school ended. And I was like, what do I do now? I mean, it was my senior year. I had no more football for high school to prepare for. I was done with wrestling. So I remember walking into the baseball coach's office. His name was Nick Restifo. He was also a football coach. I said, Coach, can I play some baseball? He's like, sure. So I played baseball my senior year. Ended up being like honorable mention all state. It worked out. It was fun. Worked out pretty well. Right. But I played first base, pitched a little bit. You could kill me on a curveball. But I could draw a walk. I could hit the ball well, and I could let the ball hit me if need be.
Huh. What was that, Billy?
Just a team player. He got on base,
Yeah,
Michael is a team player. Yeah,
Billy
when
Bean,
Reggie White told him to stand still, he would stand still. I mean,
wait, easy now. Hold on.
What? You told us that.
No, I would. You're right. It's very true.
Oh God, Mike. It's a nice college weekend. There's a handful of really important good games, and that's why college football is so great. The expanded playoff starts next year. But I love college football because their regular season has so much meaning. And every week you have teams who are basically playing for a spot in that playoff, and you have a few this week.
Well, you do. And the thing I like about, these teams that we're talking about is like eventually you're going to find out about them, right? We keep talking about Michigan with the easiest schedule. Now, you play a conference schedule. Sometimes it depends on how good that team is that particular year. But you have, I think it was East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green in your non-conference. No one's going to pat you on the back for that. And luckily they were able to get through those games without a Jim Harbaugh. But eventually they find out they got to play Ohio State. They have to play Penn State. Eventually the Pac-12, we say this every year, where they have a lot of high-rated teams, but they all play one another. So they end up knocking each other out. The SEC, you have non-conference losses by some of these SEC teams like Alabama to Texas, like LSU to Florida State, which doesn't affect them in conference play, which is still coming up. So, yeah, all these ranked. The one that's been interesting to me is the one down where you guys are, the U. I mean, they're undefeated, but nobody's giving them the time of day. And they'll say, well, they beat Texas A&M. Is that really considered a big win anymore to beat Texas A&M? They're not even ranked at this point, but they will have the chance to prove themselves, right? With the schedule they have to play the other ranked teams in the ACC. So we'll get to see if they're for real.
Yeah, the BCS, the old formula, by the way, has the Canes. If we were using that formula, the Canes would be the number one team in the BCS right now. And by the way, Chris could not make it today, but we will have our BCS for you next week. God. I know you've been thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a hammy coming on. I might have to miss that show.
Well, how does that impact you sitting down on a Zoom?
I should say, I'm sorry. My throat's starting to get sore. I don't know if I'll be able to talk.
That was the better option.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the hammy.
It's okay. You can listen.
Yeah. You just got to listen, Mike. You don't really got to talk in the BCS. You're more of a.
I may have computer issues that day. We'll see.
All right, we'll find it.
I know you will. I know you will.
As opposed to every other day.
But yeah, to your point, I tell you, the game I'm looking forward to this week is Georgia at Kentucky.
That's going to be a go. Everyone has their eyes on Texas and Oklahoma, Mike, but you're right. Georgia, Kentucky is going to be an interesting game because something seems a little bit off in Georgia.
It really does. And, they'll catch their footing at some point. I don't have any doubt that they're going to be able to do that. But right now, I mean, it's been certainly a bit of a struggle for them. And I think they'll find the way, but Kentucky's been a nice surprise in what they've been able to do. So, we'll see what that game does. They have a great running back, runs for a ton of yards. So I'll really test that Georgia run defense a bit. So that's one of the ones I'm looking forward to.
You have Texas and Oklahoma, which is the big game of the weekend, noon kickoff, which is great. Always a noon kickoff. Texas, I know Oklahoma's undefeated. Texas has beaten Alabama. Texas seems like the real deal, Mike, and it seems like they're going to be good for a very long time.
So of the teams you look at that aren't of the teams we talk about toward the end of the year, who's doing the best? Is it the U, which is undefeated? I happen to think it's Texas. Texas, I think, had 5 losses last year, and they're not only undefeated this year with the big win over Alabama, but, I mean, they look really good in doing it. And the Big 12, I don't think is that monster conference, right? I think the deepest conference, quite honestly, is the Pac-12. The SEC is always tough. The Big 10, unfortunately, is a 3-team conference, and they're all in the same division. Right. They'll play one another, but they're in the same division, which is tough. The Big 12, I don't think is as deep or as strong, but Texas looks really, really good. Curious what you guys would think. Best win of the year this year. Was it Texas at Alabama, or was it Ohio State at Notre Dame? And I'll give my answer. The reason I say Ohio State at Notre Dame, Texas had the same quarterback. Quinn Ewers, remember last year when Texas lost by a point, he was playing in that game and playing well, and then he got hurt and didn't finish that game. So him playing well, I think, expected, and he did in that game of beating Alabama this year. Ohio State came in with an unproven quarterback in Kyle McCord, and he went on the road, primetime game at Notre Dame, and got the biggest win of his young starting career, right, of just playing a few games. That was a monster win for them on the road. So I think right now that was probably the best win of the year.
Maybe Florida State over LSU. I don't know. I'm just giving you some.
Yeah, I mean, LSU has 2 losses now already, right. So is it as good as winning? But that was a big win for sure. Was a big win.
Early on, we thought it was Colorado over TCU, but then
we're idiots. That's why.
Yeah. Then we found out what TCU is. Though Colorado is certainly much better than they were last year. I mean, there's no denying that.
Mikey A, what is Kirby Smart saying?
Yeah.
Kirby Smart said this week that every SEC team should be ranked. Every single
Wait,
one.
Billy, you agree? You're shaking your head. You're nodding your head in agreement. Do you agree?
I'm agreeing. Kirby Smart said it. He said that.
Yes, he said it. But you sit there and look at it. Where are they? And they have a number of them ranked, but they're all lower. Georgia is number 1. Then I think the next SEC I'm looking quickly that pops up is Alabama at 11. Then you go down to Ole Miss at 16, Kentucky at 20, Missouri, Tennessee 21, 22, LSU 23. So they have a number of them ranked, but they're all lower. Pac-12 is the one that has a good amount of teams ranked, and they're ranked up higher in this. So, well, what's Kirby Smart going to say? I mean, of course he's going to say that.
Every SEC team. I mean, come on, Vanderbilt.
It just means more.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mike, are you? I think most people would be, but are you going to be shocked? They shouldn't be, by the way, because Oklahoma's good. Are you going to be shocked if Oklahoma beats Texas?
Not overly. I mean, they're actually ranked below a couple of one-loss teams in Notre Dame and Alabama. We're going to find out a little more about Oklahoma. I like their defense, quite honestly. Yeah. They've been playing well. So, and in the Big 12, you don't talk a lot about defense, right? You would for Baylor a little bit at times, or sometimes. TCU probably. You in the past you had talked about it, but Oklahoma, so they get a great test against Texas. You always are expecting these high scoring games. Kansas was, I thought, a good opponent. Texas just dismantled them. So I still like Texas in this one. It's amazing. The Red River Shootout, always in the Big 12, now shifts over to the SEC starting next year. That's pretty wild.
Tradition unlike any other, Mike.
Yeah. I think Texas has really got it going this year. And it's a big game for them, obviously, but I don't know if they get tripped up this year.
If I asked you before they beat Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, week 5 or 6 college football regular season, you would have said, I have no idea. But now everyone is falling in love with Texas.
Well, they are falling in love with Texas. Yeah. Plus, you have 2 undefeateds. You have a great history. And sometimes the history in these games, and that's obviously a common thing. There are some years it doesn't mean as much. Teams are playing bad, but both these teams are undefeated. It's a conference game. A lot on the line. So it's turned into a monster game again.
I'm assuming you think Georgia is going to beat Kentucky, right? Like it's an interesting game. Kentucky's undefeated. Stoops is a good coach, but I'm assuming that's tough, Mike, going to Athens and winning that game.
It is going to be tough. There's no doubt about that. Again, where Georgia's going to be tested, Ray Davis, the running back for Kentucky, he's averaging almost 8 yards a carry. He's got 8 touchdowns. That's how they're going to win this game, is by running. And if you run it, that means you're controlling the ball as well. Certainly, I'm still leaning toward Georgia down in Athens. I'm excited for my son, Mike. It's the first time he's going to Athens. He's calling that game for Learfield, Georgia, and Kentucky. So it's a great atmosphere down there. I once went down there to call a game. I mean, this was when I first got to ESPN and started doing college games.
They like to party down there.
Well, they do, but also I got up in the morning and I went to a breakfast place. I had to rent a car and I parked, by a meter and didn't think anything of it, or put some money in, not for enough time, went in and ate breakfast, came back out, and there was a police officer writing a ticket to me for the parking meter, either expired or I didn't put money in it, one of the two. The ticket was $1.34. I mean, I literally said to the cop, I'll give you $2. We can, end this thing right now. You don't even have to give me the change back.
Trying to bribe the
But I was afraid, he'd say I was trying to bribe him, for 66 cents. So I ended up taking the ticket. I don't think I ever paid it. I just kind of threw it away. But my point is a ticket for $1.34.
Whoa.
Wow, Mike.
Wow.
Arrest that man.
Yeah. I think, am I outside the statute of limitations? Maybe.
I'm not sure.
I hope not. I mean, this would be a juicy story. TMZ comes, you got arrested because you didn't pay a $2 ticket. Tough time in the Golic household.
Well,
Can't afford a $1.34 ticket.
What would be great is if they mistook Mike from me and arrested Mike as soon as he got there. There was a warrant out for his arrest.
Wait, so your son being arrested would be great, according to you?
Yeah, it'd be better because it wasn't me. So, yeah.
Right. I love you.
I mean, for a parking ticket, how bad can it be? What are they going to do?
Right.
Pay a fine that I'd end up paying anyway. So
you should have paid it already. That's the point.
It's what are you teaching your children and the youth of America listening to this story?
Get out of if you can.
Right. More he'd prefer them go to jail than him.
Yeah, exactly right.
Hey, Who famously said, "Have a fall guy."
Mike, how do you feel about brunch versus breakfast?
Monster fan of brunch.
Really?
Look, breakfast is my favorite meal. Whenever there's brunch, I normally stick to the breakfast side of the brunch, unless there's something that really kind of, wows me outside of the breakfast family. But for the most part, I'm sticking with the breakfast side. I am a breakfast freak. I love breakfast buffets, omelets, different, and pancakes or waffles. Yeah, I'm a breakfast guy.
Yeah.
How about you, Billy?
I'm not a fan of brunch. It's a whole to-do. You know what I mean? Like you pay $8 for eggs. The price is so much more than it is for breakfast for whatever reason.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it, you better eat a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to get the breakfast buffet or the brunch where it's one price and you eat all you want,
as always.
Man,
I'm such a sucker for a buffet, though. It's so much easier.
Me too. But then you eat a little bit and you're full and you're like, damn.
Right.
I got to get more out of this. I got to stuff. That's the thing. You say you got to stuff yourself and you eat so poorly.
You could have gotten like a side dish of fruit and been fine.
Exactly right. Some oatmeal and some fruit. I'd have been good for $9. And that guy paid $40 to get a buffet and barely eat anything.
Mikey A., where are you on brunch?
No, I'll stick to breakfast. But Mike, what is your approach to the breakfast buffet? Are you all in on one thing, or do you sample a lot and then go back? What's the plan of attack?
I'll start with my protein. I'll start with some eggs, some bacon. I'll look at the muffin selection and throw a little of the mini muffins on the side of that, and maybe get a little bowl of fruit. So I'll have that. And then after that, I'll go back and it depends on how the oatmeal looks. Is it good looking oatmeal? Is it bad looking oatmeal? I'll grab some oatmeal and then I'll grab a waffle pancake product as well for round 2. And then after that, it's just kind of clean up on what I liked best. If the bacon was good and crispy, I'll get some more bacon. Were the muffins, were they donuts? What was the muffin pastry selection like? I'll get some of those, and I'll certainly take some of those, put them in a napkin, and leave with them for later as well. But that's kind of my approach. I'll go protein and then carb.
Now, if you decide not to go buffet, will you get up and check out the buffet and perhaps take a strip or two of bacon, put it on a plate, and walk back to your table? I
will not do that. I will not do that. No. But like sometimes my
you
wife
won't pay your parking tickets either. I mean,
that's why I was worried.
My wife will not get the buffet. She'll get like oatmeal or some healthy thing and some fruit, and I'll get the buffet, and then she'll pick off my plate. I'm like, hon, this is illegal. If we're going down for this, you're the one going, you're going to get in trouble.
It seems like you're never going to be the one that goes down for anything. You surrounded yourself with fall people.
Yes. I am I'm not a pull the thumb guy. I'm a point the finger guy. Yeah. I swear really he or she did it. Yeah.
Name names. Names.
Exactly. I got the buffet. She didn't. She's the one taking bacon off my plate.
Mike, am I wrong to think that Maryland has a chance against Ohio State? Ohio State beat Notre Dame. They're undefeated. Maryland, I love their offense, Mike. I love their quarterback. And so I'm probably crazy here, but what do you think?
I don't think they are. I like I said, I really think that game at Notre Dame really helped Kyle McCord, the kid from Ohio State. So I don't think that's going to happen. I know Maryland is obviously one of the I guess how do we put it? The undefeateds this year, right?
Yes.
But I don't know if they're going to have the ability to stay with Ohio State. They just have so much talent. I mean, so much talent. But I mean, they're averaging more yards than Ohio State a game. So I just don't think they'll have enough overall to beat Ohio State. I think Ohio State just has too many top athletes.
How you feeling about your team going to Louisville, who's also undefeated, by the way?
I mean, Louisville got in with their win last week over North Carolina. I think it was over North Carolina State to stay undefeated and get ranked. So Notre Dame, and I think USC is going to beat Arizona this week. So Notre Dame will have gone night game Ohio State undefeated and ranked, night game Duke undefeated and ranked, night game Louisville undefeated and ranked, and then night game USC undefeated and ranked. So that's a heck of a stretch for a team that we know, you get your best game out of opponents all the time anyway, but you're getting top tier teams playing them as well. And as we know for Notre Dame, there's no conference. So you have given yourself no room for error from the playoff situation. You're not making the playoffs with 2 losses. So what a stretch it would be if you beat Duke already, if you were to beat a ranked Louisville team and then beat a USC team. I mean, what you're having the committee look at it, your resume is pretty damn good at that point. Now, obviously, you still have Pitt, who's having a down year this year. You do have Clemson, who could play him tough. So it's a big stretch for Notre Dame in these primetime night games.
Did playing in night games feel different for you?
Well, I don't like them, Billy. I always liked in college, every now and then I'd play a noon game, which I loved. NFL, I loved 1 o'clock games. I loved getting up and playing and being done.
It's the waiting around that drives you crazy, right?
Hate it, because you don't feel like you should be up and moving around because you don't want to wear your legs down. That's your thought process. So you lay in bed all day and watch games, right? And then you get tired. You nap and you feel sluggish and you got to wake yourself up. So I didn't like night games. And Mike and Jake's year, when Notre Dame went undefeated in 2012, they had 7 night games. So I never liked it. I hated the sitting around. I just didn't like the feel of it for my body. Let me get up. A pregame meal for me is breakfast. Let me eat breakfast and let me go play a game and be done.
Mike, with Deion Sanders, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, because with Deion, I've been more impressed with how he's responded to their 2 losses, right? Than I was because Deion has won his entire career, Mike. He's a winner. Okay. He's a winner at life, but every step of the way, Deion's teams have won, and they have won big. And so I wanted to see, and he got off to the great 3-0 start. I wanted to see how he would act and react to losing a couple of games. And we've seen it the last 2 weeks. I think that's Deion's biggest impact, is what he's doing with these kids, growing them into adults, and the things they do off field. What Hunter did with that kid from Colorado State on social media, and Deion had some influence over that. That is a tremendous job by Deion Sanders.
So Deion has some new school in him with all the videos and, the social media that his son is running and really getting everything out there, because that's a way to attract recruits today. But he's got a lot of old school in him. And I love the fact that he doesn't blow smoke just to blow smoke to make somebody feel good, right?
Correct, yeah.
And I kind of thought that he would be this way after the Oregon loss and just say, we got our asses kicked. We got to hand it to us. We have places that we have to build up, and they have to build up on the lines of scrimmage. If he's going to hit the portal, it better be on D-line and O-line. That's where they need to get better. Some skilled positions that they can match up, but they don't have depth and they don't have the lines of scrimmage. But I love how honest he is about it. And I love when he says, we got our butt kicks, we have to get better. But then he also says, get us now. This is the worst we're going to be. We're only going to get better as we build. I agree, Stu. I agree. I love the way he has dealt with these losses. Right. I love the way he's coaching these young men to play and to learn along the way. I think he's doing a great job of mixing new school and old school together and turning around a program that was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job. So, all right, Mike, Monday Night Football this week, huh? Westwood won. Usually Sunday night, game of the year, and they're bouncing you over to Monday night. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, it's all based on Kurt Warner and what he has going on. He's the Hall of Famer, so if he had other responsibilities, he usually does the Monday night. I've worked with Kevin Harlan before, so they slide me into that chair. So I get Green Bay at Vegas instead of Dallas at San Francisco. So, definitely not the matchup Dallas and San Francisco is, but listen, it's going and calling an NFL game, so I love it. And it's in Vegas, which means I'll go gamble, which I'm always happy to do.
There you go. Billy feels like you deserve more respect.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think, Mike, you got to commit a crime and pin it on Kurt. You know what I mean?
Is that it? Again, more of the I confess he did it type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, park his car somewhere, don't pay. I mean,
that's the problem with Kurt. There's nothing about Kurt you get to know him that you dislike about him. He is just ridiculously likable.
Dig deep, Mike. Find something.
We'll find something, Mike. We'll do the work for you. We'll find
somebody would have to, because I sure as hell can't find it.
Listen, somewhere on some platform, he said something bad about you. I know it. I just have to find it. Okay.
Hey, that's my man. We go back to the arena days when he was with the Iowa Barnstormers and I was calling games. So
I will say this: we'll get you out of here. Check him out on Gojo and Golic as well every day, 8 to 10 a.m. on the DraftKings Network, and of course wherever you get your podcast. I think, going to Monday night just to work with Kevin Harlan, I'd be okay with missing the Sunday night game this week just so I could work with Kevin Harlan.
Love Kevin Harlan. Listen, I work mostly with Ryan Radke, who I've got a great relationship now. This is our second year together doing Sunday night games. But when I first got into this business in 95, I was the TV color guy for the preseason games for the new Jacksonville Jaguars. And Kevin Harlan was a play-by-play. So he's the first person I ever worked with in a booth.
Wow.
And he was great. We got along great. I love Kevin. And so, yes, we are going to get to relive 1995 a little bit, starting that over again. So, and I've worked with him the last couple of Super Bowls when he and Kurt were in the booth and I was on the sideline. But I will enjoy that because I did enjoy working with him decades ago.
All right, it's not Cowboys-Niners, but it is Packers and Raiders. Monday Night Football, Westwood 1 with Mike Golic, and again, also Gojo and Golic, and right here on God Bless Football. God bless football to you, Mike Golic.
God bless football to you, Billy.
God bless football, Mikey, eh?
God bless football, everyone.
Austin Ekler joins us every week here on God Bless Football. We love him. He's got a bye week this week. We were talking actually right before you came on because you announced, hey, bye week this week. You got a week off. Is this a good time? I think for you, probably this is a great time just based on what you're going through with a high ankle sprain. This is a great time for a bye week. But, man, it seems early for a bye week, Austin.
Yeah, what I've noticed and learned about the NFL is the bye week for your team always comes at a great time. We play a violent game where guys are always hurt. You're always trying to get guys back. It's just the cycle and the nature of the NFL. And, for timing purposes, for me, it ended up working out because of my injury. Yeah. And I've seen it play out where, I wish we had the bye a little bit earlier or later. And so for us, the bye is always at a good time, like I said, because you're always going to have guys that are coming back in, especially for us this week. We have Justin with, his thing with his finger. We have Joey that didn't play. I didn't play. Derwin didn't play. Like we have all these guys that are out, all of our guys that are making plays for us. And so, good week for the bye for us, even though it is early, like all the timing of all of this stuff really ends up panning out. Like we have a Thursday night game later in the year, which kind of is like a mini bye because you get a couple extra days off that you usually don't get. So, we'll take it. It is what it is. If it's early, late, doesn't really matter. We got to continue to go anyway, so no one cares.
Would you prefer a second bye week or more bye weeks?
Ooh, a second bye week.
Yes.
That's a topic that I know has been thrown around before. 2 bye weeks. And then do you take out a preseason game or do you just extend the season 1 week earlier or later?
I'm fine with taking out a preseason game because I don't watch the preseason, and I love football. Like I am the demographic, and I don't watch the preseason, man. I can't.
Yeah. So there might be some traction with that because I think there's ways that we can get more evaluation done in practice. Whether it's like an in practice scrimmage or maybe you do like a joint practice type of thing, which we already do joint practices, and maybe you have like a little scrimmage period in that. And then get rid of an entire preseason game and maybe add another bye. I would, be in favor of another bye. Yes.
Huh.
Austin, it seems like you're getting closer to getting there, so much so that we couldn't help but notice what you were doing on social media this past week, where you tweeted out a picture before the game where you're in full uniform.
Keep in mind, Billy has you on his fantasy team, Austin.
Well, no, I was playing it safe. No, but it seems like you were ready to go. It looks like there's a picture of the national anthem, and there's a lightning bolt, which would indicate to many people that you were going to be playing that game, and then you did not.
Look, I don't know how you can indicate that is playing. I don't know. I don't know how you interpret.
You were in your uniform.
There was no words. It was just a simple picture of me in the uniform, just supporting that it was game day. Yes, that was it.
Picture's worth 1,000 words, Austin.
Yeah.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
And you get to decide what words. That's the thing that gets people. Because
I love one of the comments where a guy says, "There's no way because the game starts at 4. It's 1 o'clock. You're tweeting this out at like 2. There's no way you're fully dressed, and they're playing the national anthem right now. Like everyone was mad at you, Austin.
I know there was a lot of mixed emotions. I had hundreds of DMs. you're playing, or get your ass on the field. I'm just like, hey, yeah, like, look, I'm just supporting the guys, just letting you guys know it's game day, and I'm excited to eventually get back on the field.
But you're savvy enough in social media to know what you're doing there. Do you like trolling people?
Yes.
Hey, I can't say I do or do not. I'm just saying, look, it was a supportive picture with no words. You can interpret as you wish.
Were any of the DMs from Billy?
About 10% of them.
Your Twitch setup seems to be a lot different than the God Bless Football setup, where you have like nice lights behind you. You have your lit up keyboard. There's like a mood that you have going there.
Look, I don't want to hear. You guys have a whole studio, which you're not in right now, obviously. No. But you guys have a setup as well. So yeah, this is just like a makeshift kind of like setting in the background. Put the A and the E on the back, put a jersey up, call it a day, right? It's simple, something simple. But I do need
this is one for friends, Billy. This is one for friends.
Exactly. This is the casual. I need a more professional setup though, for sure. I do enough content that I should already have that done by now.
Do you ever think to yourself, like after a game, even in a game that you're not playing in, and you haven't played in the last two, man, could we just have a easy one?
Yes. Every time. Every time. I'm like,
it's never easy with you guys.
I know, man. I know. Just like we drew it up. Hey, as long as we get the win. You never. Coach Kellen Moore, our offensive coordinator, is like, hey, you never apologize for a win. If you get a win, it don't matter how it got done. You got to win. You don't apologize for that. So, yes, we can make it easier on ourselves. I wish we could just go out there and blow a team away. Trust me, we are trying. Trust me, we are not trying to make these close. We are trying to put as many points up as we possibly can. But guess what? That's not how the NFL works. And so, you take the game how it comes to you and try to, do the best you can with that.
Were you at the game this past week? I know you tweeted out, like, we get it, right?
Yeah, I was there in uniform. You didn't see?
Right? You were there? Yeah, I saw it, Austin. No, because last week I loved hearing you kind of take us through. You watched the games the way we watch the games every single Sunday because your team was on the road, but you were there for that game?
Yeah, so I was able to kind of mask the emotions a little bit more because I was on the sideline this week. And obviously we were up by a bunch until the end. So that definitely helped calm the nerves as well. And just watching the guys play well, especially on defense, was getting me excited. So pretty much was all good emotions. Wasn't this roller coaster like it was the past couple 3-4 weeks. But yeah, I was on the sideline, so it was good to be around the guys. But I can't stand watching, man. I got to get back out there.
It's the worst, right?
It's crushing, man. Because it's just like I know I'm so close. I'm there, like at the game, and it's like, man, like I can't help. It's like I know I could help, and so looking forward to this bye week and then getting back on the dang field. I was already on the practice field this last week getting reps, and so pretty much uphill climb. Yeah, projected to get going here this next 2 weeks.
I know watching sucks, but do you ever stroll over to your coach and suggest a play? Like, how does that work with you? I mean, you're the captain.
There's a conversation there because it's a, hey, like, what percentage are you ready? There's a whole scenario. Where are we at in the season? What's the scenario? We have a bye week coming up. What percentage are you back? Who's the team we're playing? All the stuff that goes into account of like, do you play a guy if he's injured? Maybe he's 85%, 80%, 90%, 100%. And so that's going on for sure. But in this scenario, it's like, hey, let's take this bye week and then get back to as close to 100% as we can and hit the ground running when we come after that.
I know you love your head coach, but have you ever walked by him and just said, Coach, just punt. It's okay.
Hey, we're winning games doing what we're doing. I don't know what you're talking about. That's how we win. That's how we win, man. Red zone defense, baby. Step it up.
I know, but remember what we talked about earlier. Can you have an easy one?
I know, man. It shouldn't have to come down to that. It shouldn't have to come down to us having to get a 4th and 1 backed up. In the 20-yard line, like we were up by, 20 something points or, 17, 18, whatever it was. And then we scored 0 points in the second half. 0, not one time. We didn't even get a dang field goal in the second half. And that's unacceptable. You're going to get beat, right? You're not going to be able to play against some of these other quarterbacks and win games like that. We're playing against a backup over there. So imagine if it's not, maybe it was a starter.
Right.
You know, like we can't play like that. So for us, we got to make sure that we're taking care of business the entire game so that we don't have to have these, you know, nail biting games where I'm on the roller coaster and I'm going crazy and I'm, you know, up in my screen and I'm screaming and doing push. Like, it doesn't have to be like this, guys. And so, guess that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to blow everyone out of the water.
Does anyone on your team know the punter? Like, I feel like the punter, you guys aren't sure his name. There would be weeks he doesn't even dress out. Like, do you know the punter on your team?
JK, man. That's our guy. He's a good guy.
Tell me something about him, anything.
JK. He's very tall and he does a lot of barefoot work. I'll tell you that. He's got his own little stuff that he does. And he can sling that thing, man. That sheesh. He's got a leg on him.
Does Staley know him by name or no? I mean,
yes, he knows him by name. Yes.
Are you sure?
You must not like him.
He just likes our offense more, I guess. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Well, when you have that quarterback, who wouldn't? I understand it, actually. I who wouldn't go for it all the time with that quarterback? And especially when you're healthy, you know?
Yeah, I know. We got to be able to pick up a yard, man. Sheesh.
I know. How's the ankle feel, by the way?
Feels good. It feels really good. So that's I know it's a relief for all of the fantasy people out there. Like, finally, are we gonna get this guy back? Well, guess what? I got the whole bye week, so you got to wait one more week. But then we got 13 games in a row, and I'm trying to make them all. So I'm excited.
People always talk about the high ankle sprain and how bad it is. Can you explain to people what that feels like?
Yeah, so it's not like a low ankle sprain where it's just like your foot like rotates, and that's where it's like painful. With the high ankle sprain, it's really like pressure, like pushing this way with my foot or pushing this way with my foot, which basically turns like up here above the ankle, right? It's all those muscles up here, like you're seeing in my forearm right here. And so you can go do a lot of stuff going forward, and that's great, but you can't turn, you can't like plant off your inside of your foot. And so that's really where it's hard to even do anything. And it's so annoying because it just takes so long to heal because it's just ligament damage in there. And you can't tape it up. Like, that's really where it's a pain. It's like pushing off of your foot. You can't you can tape your foot so it doesn't do this, but you can't tape it so you can't do that. And so that's why it tends to be a longer injury than just a normal, lower ankle sprain, is because of the kind of the prehab things that you can and can't do to it. Because literally you'd have to, like, I don't even know how you would tape that. You're taping like up here on someone's leg, which doesn't even make sense because it doesn't do anything. So you're really at the mercy of your body to be able to actually come back instead of being able to tape it up and kind of, give it a crutch, so to speak.
Someone was asking me about you and your story because they're a listener, they're a friend of mine, and they know you're on the show every week. And it's a fascinating story, undrafted, and you're going to go into the Hall of Fame, Austin. Like, you're a Hall of Famer, which is incredible.
Got to keep putting in some years.
Yeah, listen, you and I will walk in together, okay? I'll introduce you. Okay.
Appreciate it.
What does Austin get out of that exchange exactly?
Nothing.
You're just getting a free.
I'm putting it in people's ears.
I get a buddy. I get a hype man.
Yeah.
So I get
and Billy, me and Billy, we'll do it together. And Mikey, okay?
There you go.
All right, we're good? All right, Mikey, you good?
I'm good.
But I was wondering, because your story is such a great one, and you're a great storyteller, would you change anything about your path, about your story?
Ooh. Would I change anything about my story? It's hard to say. Especially because I live by this like philosophy that everything has been a result of the effort that I put in, which has been good for me because I've liked where I've gotten to. I would change something, but it almost has nothing to do with football. I would change when I realized that value isn't money, and value is more skills and impact. I wish I knew that earlier in my football career. I heavily know that now, but that's because I've gotten my second contract and had money, and I was like, oh, well, that's great. You have a bunch of money in the bank, but you still have to go out and do stuff. That's where the real value is. You still have to go out and make stuff happen. You still have to go and learn. You still have to go talk to people. You still have to go move your body. Like, you don't just win the game and the game's over because now you're infinitely fulfilled because you have money in the bank. And so it's not even that it was just money, but just learning the importance of connections, learning the importance of knowledge, of trying new things. And now I'm constantly trying to build new businesses on the side, as well as playing football at the same time and utilizing this platform. And I wish I would have known that earlier. So I wish I had a mentor that would have told me that. And so I tell all my young guys that now, to try to get that in their head at an early age and help them plant that seed, because it's going to help them in their, not just their football career. It's going to make them a football player. Yes. But it's going to help them just as a man in general.
It's a great answer. When did you realize that? Like, when did you learn that lesson? How did you learn that lesson?
Probably year 3, when COVID hit and there was nothing going on. I had just signed my second contract, and then I realized there was not really a lot of media coverage around the Chargers or anything like that. And I was kind of just like under the rug. Like, there was no like hype around like my new contract. There was no like fan support really, as far as like, oh yeah, Austin's back. And so I was like, man, like I got paid, but nothing's happening. And so I was like, I got to go make stuff happen. So I started streaming. I started my foundation. And that's where I started my real estate portfolio. And so I really started to build, and I started to go do things. And I was like, okay, now stuff's starting to spark up again. Now I'm building up my community. Now I'm building different things and putting resources into the community. And I'm seeing this appreciation and all of this stuff. And so that's when it really clicked for me, was in my third year. After my third year, when I was like, okay, yeah, I've made an impact, but I have to continue to do more to create more value. And that's what really fulfills me. And so I wish I would have known that earlier and what that looks like. And now that I do know what it looks like, it looks like impacting others, still building myself, but trying to bring some value to other people. And then that's why even doing these types of shows, right? Coming on here, let's talk to people. Let's talk to y'all. Let's get out here and make some content for people. Let's give a different perspective. Things like this that I see as valuable and fulfilling for myself.
All right, Billy has a great content idea, so I want him to pitch it to you.
Perfect.
This is a good idea. Austin,
nice.
we're going to call the Super Bowl together if you're not in it, okay? We'll do that. But this is a really good idea by Billy here.
Well, I was just listening to this and how you kind of branch out and you have all these businesses, and it got me thinking, what if we were to bring people to pitch things to you, like a Shark Tank of sorts? Yes. You know what I mean? Because you never know where you're going to find the next big idea. I don't know how it is that people approach you with these great ideas, but if you give us some time, maybe we can, round up some of our fans or whatever. They could pitch you ideas that maybe you'd be interested in investing in.
So there's a few things.
Yeah,
I have people pitch me stuff like regularly, just because I'm constantly having my team go through like DMs and check, hey, what are people saying? People want to connect. Is there anyone that maybe there's some traction there? And so at this moment, I have like the perfect setup to be able to bring on projects, because now I have my marketing team, I have my attorneys, I have a few operators to do this stuff. So I'm very selective in who I will work with and what projects I will bring on. And also, I'm in a position, I could invest, but I would also want to, utilize my own team in some way. If I were to partner with somebody, because that's where I'm set up to right now, is to bring on not only myself, but resources to actually boost you as well. In addition to what you already have set up. So I've actually been thinking about it myself. So it's not a bad idea. We just need to hash out the logistics of a little bit more of timing, and then, what the involvement of me would be and how much it would be me and not just my team, and maybe my name and possibly finances. So you're onto something.
That's a very nice diplomatic answer, because it probably would have been a giant waste of your time and would have just annoyed you.
So I'm super entrepreneurial. Like, I'm trying to start, like, I'm literally meeting today with somebody because I want to start this like online mindset coaching course. And now I'm starting a Discord server that has like a battle pass. I'm building a website that has like all of the athletes' ventures on it. So you can go see all of Austin's things and all of the other Chargers things and all the other teams. I have my app that's going on that are going to help the NIL space. And so I have all of these different businesses. I have my, real estate fund, my foundation, all of these things that are just stacking up. So I'm always listening to new stuff, because it's what helps me, like I said, fulfill like my fulfillment, where it's like, let me build something that impacts other people. And so I'm game for it if we want to get set up.
You're well thought out and you're organized, because me and Billy were thinking we'll just throw people into this Zoom and let them pitch ideas to you.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna need a little bit more management than that, but
we'll take some time and we'll think about it. Okay, we'll try to do it your way.
I like it though, Billy. Yeah, we just need more structure.
I'm starting to see why you're a success and we're not.
How are you feeling about it? Feels like the national media was just waiting for the Dolphins to lose, waiting to pounce on Tua, waiting to pounce on the Dolphins. And it's starting to annoy me. Even as a Jet fan, it is starting to annoy me.
Really?
Why are you making that face? Because Tua is a good guy. He's a great quarterback. The Dolphins are a good team. They lost to a good team on the road in Buffalo, and everyone crushes them afterwards. It's weird to me, the reaction to both Tua and this Dolphin team.
The part that's kind of weird to me, and I saw some headlines about it, and I didn't see the clip, so I don't want to like quote clips, but it was essentially like the Dolphins got what they deserved. They're frauds. They said they were the best offense ever, and look at them. And it's kind of like they didn't really. Like they were knighted.
We said it.
Like that's the thing that's a little weird. It's like you guys were saying that this is the best offense you've ever seen, and then they have like an off game, and then it's like, this is what they deserve for saying this about themselves. Like I don't think that worked like that, but okay. Like if it makes you feel better.
It is just odd. Mikey, you've noticed that, right? The reaction. This team is so polarizing for no reason. No reason.
I was reading a power rankings, and they said, we'll see how they do after the Bills game before I put them top 5. And I was like, what are you talking about?
That was in the power ranking?
Yes. They had him at like number 7. And I'm like, how are you going to put the Dolphins at number 7? And they're like, well, let's see how they do against the Bills. Like they scored 70. That should be top 5 right there.
How about this though? So like I'll say me. I criticized Mike McDaniel for not going for the all-time scoring record, and he didn't want to do it because he didn't want whatever, right? And in hindsight, it would have looked a lot worse to lose to the Bills after setting the all-time scoring record and celebrating that, and then getting blown out the next week. So I guess that ended up working out. I will say this about the Dolphins, and I'm sure people are sick and tired of hearing about the Dolphins from us, but I don't think you're going to learn anything about the Dolphins in the next 2 weeks because they're playing the Giants and the Panthers. So, like, okay, they'll get back on track, whatever, but you're not going to know how good they are until 2 weeks in 3 weeks when they play the Eagles.
Right. I will tell you they're 5-1. They're already 5-1. Okay. They're playing those 2 games at home. The Dolphins are 5-1 already. Okay.
Okay.
You feel good?
No, you're not going to. No, I just told you we're not going to learn anything about the Dolphins until they play the Eagles, who the Eagles, I believe, and I don't want to misquote you said are frauds and you said are not that good, if I remember correctly.
Well, I said that about the Eagles?
Yes.
It's just, I don't know. It feels like something's a little off in Philadelphia. It does. Like, I know they're 4-0, but it's like a ho-hum 4-0, you know?
A ho-hum 4-0.
Yeah, they're not blowing teams out. You know what I'm saying, right?
So what do the Eagles need
overtime?
To do? Yeah. I mean, so the Eagles play the Rams and then the Jets, so the Eagles could be 6-0 at the time of that matchup.
They're going to be 6-0. I'm announcing it right now. The Eagles are 6-0. The Dolphins are 5-1. How about that? No need to watch the games.
Okay, I have a question for you, Stugotz. So on the Le Batard Show this week, RG3 was on, and RG3, we kind of asked him about the comment where he implied that he could be playing for the Jets or he could be starting for the Jets, but has been like pushed out of the league because too much comes around him. Mm-hmm. And we asked him almost as a like, you want to clarify that? And he then doubled and almost tripled down and said that if you give him 4 weeks, he can be the Jets quarterback. And you ask him, come be our quarterback week 8.
Yeah.
Are you still hoping for that to be the case?
Well, it appears like Aaron's going to come back week 8, or at least he thinks he is. I mean,
what's going on there?
I don't know.
Whatever crystals he's using, they're working. Everything is.
Right.
I'll tell you this: there are people who hurt their Achilles that watched him walking on the field and were like, I don't remember ever being able to walk like that so quickly after the surgery. So he is progressing really nicely, but come on, Aaron.
Yes, but this and
they don't play in the NFL. I mean,
call me a skeptic. I feel like this has rushed back into re-injury written all over it. And then instead of just missing 1 season, now we're missing a season and a half or 2 seasons because we decided to try to do it too quickly.
It's called the New York Jets.
Yeah, that's what it's
called. The New York Jets.
Would you take RG3 week 8? Mike?
Oh, man.
I know, it's tough. Because Zach Wilson finally looked good. Like, that's what happens. When Zach Wilson has time, he can step into throws. I mean, he looked good. You got to give him credit. He did look good.
Don't make me say yes. Don't make me say I'd rather have RG3.
Wow.
Please
Why?
don't.
Here are your choices for week 8. Okay, Billy, who do they play week 8? Do you know the Jets?
I'm on it right now.
I think it's the Giants.
Billy's so excited.
So the Jets play the Broncos this week. So you think that they're gonna like right the ship there?
That's
then
a revenge
Broncos,
game for
Eagles
Nathaniel
bye.
Hackett. How about that?
Then they play the Eagles, and then what is it? And there's a bye. Then the Giants, then the Chargers.
Ooh.
Monday Night Football. RG3 comes back Monday Night Football.
Wow.
You want RG3 against Justin Herbert, or you want Zach Wilson?
I don't want Zach Wilson. So the answer.
So you want RG3? Say it.
I got no. Yeah, I want RG3.
Wow. Okay.
So do I.
Do you really?
I'm not sold on Zach yet. I got to see it more.
But you're sold on RG3? Do you just like a name?
Yes.
Okay. I guess.
It is odd to be sold on a guy who hasn't played in like 5 years.
I have a strange fear that I want to share with you guys on the way out here. I feel like my head is on my body crooked. Every time I'm looking at the Zoom, my head seems crooked, and I feel like my head may just be crooked on my body. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that.
I don't know either. I mean, it looks like it's straight on to me. I mean,
but you see, like it goes like maybe is my hat crooked? I don't know. I'm aging very quickly.
You are.
Yeah, time wasn't good.
Your head's moving. That happens
Yeah.
when you get older. Your head moves.
It just starts slanting to the side.
You just. It's part of old age.
Yeah, my head's getting heavy, like on one side.
How old are you, Billy?
Too old. 47. What am I now? I don't know.
You're not 47, Billy. How old are you?
I feel it though. I feel every bit of my 47. You know.
How old are you? Is that
Old enough not to answer that question.
I'm 36. I'm 36.
36 going on 47.
Yeah.
Did you just end the show by yawning?
I think so.
God bless Billy.